Okay, wow. The Hurricanes name a captain, the Coyotes name a captain, the Dallas Stars signed Tyler Seguin to an 8-year contract extension, and none of them even come close to being the biggest hockey news item of the day. The Ottawa Senators have traded Erik Karlsson to the Tampa Bay. No, they didn't! Thank goodness he didn't stay in the Atlantic Division. And Tampa? Come on, that's not fair. Although I'm not sure how much more fair the Sharks are. The Ottawa Senators trade their captain, Erik Karlsson, to the San Jose Sharks, along with prospect Francis Perron. Perron is a 22-year-old forward who the Sens took in the 7th round in 2014. He only had 4 goals and 15 points in 44 games with Belleville last year. He didn't score a lot, but then again, if you look at Belleville's roster, nobody really did. Philip Chlapik led with 32 points, and he was the only Belleville Sen to top 30 points. In exchange, the Sharks give the Senators, and I gotta go to sportsnet.ca for help on this one, Chris Tierney, Dylan DeMello, Josh Norris, Rudolph Spalsers, a first-round pick in 2019 or 2020, a second-round pick in 2019, a conditional second-round pick in 2021, and a conditional first-round pick no later than 2022. That's a lot. Or is it? Let's break down this trade. Chris Tierney is a 24-year-old center making a hair under $3 million this season and next. He had a breakout 40-point season last year, and he was rewarded by getting traded to the Ottawa Senators. And you look at the Sens and how people are ranting about how bad they are, but their center depth is Duchesne, Jean-Gabriel Pageau, Chris Tierney, and maybe even Logan Brown, a first-round pick of theirs. But then consider that Matt Duchesne might also get traded. And Logan Brown has 4 games of NHL experience under his belt, and when it rains, it pours. Get a load of this. It came out today that Pageau apparently hurt himself in training. Well, how did he hurt himself? How bad was it? This is Renaud Lavoie on Twitter. According to multiple sources, news is not good regarding Jean-Gabriel Pageau today. Could be out 4 to 6 months and have surgery to repair an Achilles tendon. So, ding ding ding, Chris Tierney could be the Senators' #1 center by the end of the season. And if you're one of the Sens fans right now going, "Stop turning the knife!" Yeah, well, that's just the first guy. Another guy the Senators got was right-handed defenseman Dylan DeMello, and I'm optimistic about him, actually. He's taken a while to get himself established in the league, 6th round pick, 2011 of the Sharks. And I'll just say I'm biased, I like him. He was on the Mississauga Steelheads when I was their in-arena host, but he's been a player for at least a year now where people kind of look at his results and go, you know, I wonder what he could do with more opportunity. Well, he's gonna get a lot in Ottawa. No goals last season, but in 63 games, he did have 20 assists. He only had 1 less assist than Marc-Edouard Vlasic, and Vlasic played in 81 games, way more than DeMello. He is 25, so he's getting a little old to be talking about potential, but I think with more opportunity, he can do a lot and help the Sens out and replace some of the offense left behind by, let me check my notes, Erik Karlsson! And he only makes $900,000 this season and next, so he's exactly what the Sens want in that way. Those are the clear roster guys, then we get into the prospects and it gets messy. I just made a video about the Leafs prospect pyramid, and believe it or not, I'm not as well versed in the Sharks prospects. I know they have some good ones. And when it was announced that Karlsson was going to the Sharks, but they didn't say what the return was yet, I was kind of thinking along the lines of what Ian Tulloch says here. Oh, they gotta be getting Timo Meier, Ryan Merkley, would have made a ton of sense, Linus Karlsson, a bunch of draft picks. Well, you were right on a bunch of draft picks, but not the other guys. Dude, if you're trading Erik Karlsson and you're getting a package back that includes prospects, you better get at least one of the best ones, at least one of the top 3. And it doesn't sound like that happened. Here's a little bit more this time from Scott Wheeler. Balsers, I sure hope I'm saying his name right, and Norris are good prospects, but they aren't great. San Jose hangs on to Meier and Merkley. I can't imagine things going worse for Ottawa, and they're going to lose a top 5 pick to Colorado. Oh, Scott, you're jumping the gun. We're not even there yet. For reference, the Sens didn't get a single player in my top 50 drafted prospects ranking back for the best defenseman of the last decade, and the 2 high picks they got will be late. If you're going to be optimistic about anything, maybe this from Andy Strickland will help you out. Josh Norris, included in the Karlsson trade to Ottawa, will be reunited with one of his best friends in Brady Tkachuk. So it's kind of unfortunate, but Brady Tkachuk is pretty much always going to be tied to the Sens' first-round pick for this upcoming season, which belongs to Colorado, and that's kind of the point. The Sens had the chance to just hold on to their 2019 first and see what happens. Instead, they chose to get Brady Tkachuk. But Brady Tkachuk seems like he's going to be a fantastic player. And the thing I've praised about Brady Tkachuk for a while now, look, things are miserable in Ottawa right now. You think any fans are happy right now? Brian 5 or 6 is running around pantless in some LCBO parking lot in Ottawa, Canada. But Brady Tkachuk just has this air of confidence, this just I own every room I walk into. A potential future captain for the Sens on account of they're looking for one. Maybe Josh Norris comes in. If he's any good, he makes the Sens, is a key player for them, and he's part of the leadership. He was, after all, a first-round pick in 2017, 19th overall. He scored 23 points in 37 games with the University of Michigan. Then there's Rudolf Balcers. HockeyDB says he's from Latvia. I knew it! He's a guy I think Sens fans should be excited for too. He played 67 games with the San Jose Barracuda in the American Hockey League last season. He was 20 years old for almost the entire season. He didn't turn 21 until April, and he led the Sharks in both goals and points. 23 goals, and he was the only Shark to surpass 20 goals, and 48 points. He was the only Shark to surpass 40 points. For a 20-year-old player to carry the offensive load like he did in the American Hockey League last season, not every player can do that. Doesn't mean he's a superstar in the making, but it does seem to mean that he's at least an NHL player, Sens fans. And typical of the Sharks, he was a 5th-round pick in 2015. They do such a good job in the later rounds. A 2015 pick the Sharks didn't have to give up, Timo Meier. Now the picks. The Sens get a first-rounder in 2019 or 2020. Why do the Sens always pick the mystery box? And a second-round pick in 2019 where the Sharks just go, LOL, yeah, they're happy to give that up. Conditional picks require a little bit of explaining. Here's Elliot Friedman's Twitter. Should the Sharks sign Karlsson to a contract extension, Ottawa receives San Jose's second-round selection in 2021, which would upgrade to a first-round selection, not lottery protected, if San Jose reaches the Stanley Cup final in 2019. The first part's interesting, the second part's kind of useless. I guess Sens fans are going to have to keep a close eye on the Sharks then. So basically, in 2021, the Sens get a second-round pick if Karlsson re-signs with the Sharks. Then there's the interesting condition of the Sharks making the Stanley Cup final this year, which frankly looks likely. And it could be a sneaky little provision in there, because if the Sharks do make it to the Stanley Cup final this year, they're going to load up even more than they already have. And I would assume they'll have a decent chance in 2020 as well. I don't think it's likely, but it is possible to have a scenario where the Sharks go completely nuts for 2 years, and then in 2021, maybe they're not as strong, they miss the playoffs, the Sens get a first-round pick that could potentially be 3rd, 2nd, or 1st overall. I wonder where they picked that up. The wording is interesting though, because it says it's a second-rounder if Karlsson resigns that upgrades to a first-rounder if they make it to the 2019 Stanley Cup final. I'm not entirely sure, but based on that wording, if the Sharks make it to the Stanley Cup final but Karlsson does not re-sign, it sounds like the Sens don't get that pick at all. And now, the part that made me mad and should make every Ottawa Senators fan mad. If Karlsson is on an Eastern Conference roster reserve list during the 2018-19 season, the Senators will receive an additional first-round pick from the Sharks no later than 2022. That's strange. Why would they do that? I think intern Dan figured it out. The Sens are making sure San Jose doesn't flip Karlsson back to the East like they did with Hoffman. And you might look at that and go, ha! That's smart. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, you fool me, you can't fool me again. Let's rewind. From NHLTradeTracker.com, the Ottawa Senators acquire Michael Bodker, Julius Bergman, and a 2026 rounder from San Jose for Mike Hoffman, Cody Donaghy, and a 2020 5th-round pick. Then the exact same day, the Florida Panthers acquire Mike Hoffman and a 2018 7th in exchange for a 2018 4th, a 2018 5th, and a 2019 2nd. So the Sens give up Hoffman, an ECHL defender, and a 5th for a kind of overpaid depth forward, a maybe prospect, and a 6th. The Sharks then trade Hoffman and a 7th and get a 2nd, 4th, and 5th. Doug Wilson and the San Jose Sharks, and in a way Dale Talon and the Florida Panthers, stole Pierre Dorion and the Ottawa Senators lunch money. Why? Why couldn't the Senators have just made that deal with the Panthers? Well, supposedly it's because the Sens don't want to trade with the East. Yada yada yada, the Sens could have got more for Mike Hoffman if they were just willing to trade with the East. We know that, Steve, said the Sens fan. We've already been mad about that. Why are you bringing it up again? Why do they have that condition in there, huh? Why do they have that conditional pick in there in this Karlsson trade? Well, because the Sharks have already did it to them once. Which, by the way, the Sharks literally screwed the Senators several months ago, and then the Sens gave them their captain. You want to know what I think? I think there were better offers out there for Erik Karlsson. I think the Senators received better offers for Erik Karlsson, and those better offers came from the East. And the only thing that should be rising in Ottawa is the blood pressure of their fans, because the team has learned nothing! You're coming off a terrible season, you had an extraordinarily controversial summer. The owner just cannot shut up. He's talking about maybe moving the team, and no, I'm not going to move the team, and what the hell was that Twitter video? Karlsson, Stone, and Duchesne all expire at the end of the year, and it looks like they're gone. Beggar Givers cannot be choosers in the National Hockey League, and choosers will be losers. Well, you know, we don't want Erik Karlsson coming to town with a divisional rival. What, like when the Leafs were rebuilding and they traded their captain Dion Phaneuf to you with no salary retained? Take a gander around the league, learn some things. I don't believe for 1 second this was the best offer the Sens received for Erik Karlsson. Not 1 second. They were rumored to be doing that buy one get one free package deal with Bobby Ryan for months. And I also think they were handcuffing themselves by deliberately not trading with half the league. And before you say anything, would you put it past them? This is a great day for Colorado Avalanche fans because they got that pick. Not so great of a day for Sens fans. Or Jack Hughes. Now, that's the doom and gloom. Or rather, that's the gloom. The Sharks are the doom. Picking and choosing between Karlsson and Burns? Are you kidding, Doug Wilson? From Dmitry Filipovich, Doug Wilson is a bad man. Obviously had the ammo and desire to make a splashy move this summer, and everyone knew it, but still didn't panic and half-ass it after missing out on guys like Tavares and O'Reilly. Didn't get Tavares, but damn, he offered him $13 million a year. He tried. Didn't get Ryan O'Reilly. He went to a Western Conference team too. Shoot. And just as camps open up, he gets Erik Karlsson. And John Tavares actually does fit into this conversation, I think. Because one of the criticisms of the Leafs getting Tavares was, well, okay, does that really solve their problems? Like, alright, they're sick offensively, but their problem is defense. What are they doing? Yes, but now their depth down the middle is ridiculous. Similarly, look at the Sharks. Karlsson joins a team that already had Burns and Vlasic? Are you joking? This takes an already good defense and makes it undeniable. It's one of the best defenses in the league. In fact, am I being dumb by saying one of the? I think Joe Thornton's reaction says it all. Today, the Sharks shot their shot with a bazooka. And like Dmitry said, they didn't panic. Just like real life Sharks, this team doesn't sleep. And when they missed their first 2 targets, they didn't opt to starve. They saw a nice big fish right over there, and they stalked their prey. They waited him out, and they got him, and the result might be a team that should be favored as the new Stanley Cup favorites. And you might look at their team and go, yes, but what of their depth that just took a little bit of a hit? Well, they might be able to replace them with some of their top prospects because they didn't have to give them to the Sens. Season hasn't even begun yet, and I think you can give the GM of the Year award to Doug Wilson. Last night of the podcast, we talked about the Blues having the best summer out of any NHL team. Yeah, can I change my answer? At very worst, I think the Sharks are going to be a team at the trade deadline that decides they're maybe only a small piece or two away. And how sick would it be if that piece or two they needed came from the Florida Panthers in the deal for Mike Hoffman? Maybe Wilson really is a Shark. So, what do you think of the deal? What do you think of this video? I said some pretty outlandish things. Did Doug Wilson have the best summer out of any GM in hockey? Are the San Jose Sharks the new Stanley Cup favorites now that they have Erik Karlsson? Did the Sens actually do as bad in this trade as I yelled about? Do you think that maybe, just maybe, there was a team in the East that had a better offer and they just turned it down? Do you think that Duchesne and Stone and maybe even a guy like Craig Anderson are next? And because I like optimism, because I like hope, if you were running the Sens, how would you get them out of this? So that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. I'll link to a very out-of-date, brand new Panacle Pizza Steve Dangle podcast. And I'm afraid to upload this because I think more stuff's going to happen. Seriously.